Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Potomac and Chesapeake Association for College Admission Counseling Virtual College Fair. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Each institution will have 6 minutes to share more about their institution, and we'll be around for the entire session to answer any questions you have. My name is Catherine, and I will be your facilitator for this session. Before we get started, we do have a few housekeeping items to note. First, your camera and microphone are off. You are muted and your video is off. The panelists can't see or hear you. If you have any questions at all, feel free to use the Q&A button towards the bottom of your screen to ask any questions you may have. Again, our representatives are here and available to help. This is one of many college presentations being offered this evening, so feel free to check the schedule on the website for more. And lastly, all sessions are being recorded, including this one, and will be available later on demand at strivescan.com/PCACAC. We are currently in session B1, where my mouse is circling, and this is also the same order of presentation. So without further ado, I'll get out of the way and introduce our very first representative from Catholic University.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here so that we can see the PowerPoint. There we go. Perfect. So hopefully everyone can see this. But my name is Tom Barry. I am an Assistant Dean of Undergraduate Admission here at Catholic University. We're located in Northeast DC. We're about 3 miles from the US Capitol building. We're 3 metro stops from Union Station, 4 from the National Mall, 5 from Chinatown, which is really the hustle and bustle of the city. But what you're going to get at Catholic U, I think, is distinctly different than most urban campuses. You're going to have a true residential college campus experience. But at Catholic, by the numbers, we're about 3,100 undergraduate students. 80% of our students self-identify as Catholic. 27% self-identify as ethnically diverse. We do have 34 on-campus research centers here in DC. Average class size, I think this makes us a little bit different than other institutions in the area, is about 19. And the student-to-faculty ratio is about 10-1. But like I said, the biggest difference is going to be a residential college campus. We have 176 acres located, like I said, here in Northeast DC. On campus, there's over 100 clubs and organizations. We are a Division III institution. No one on campus is here on an athletic scholarship. They are playing really for the love of the game. And in addition to that, they're competing at the highest level. We had both men's and women's lacrosse in the NCAA tournament this past weekend. Today, our baseball team got an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament. For the first time in program history. They had never gotten an at-large bid. So we're still competing at the highest level. We have Division I caliber athletes that have chosen the Division III route for themselves and really to focus on academics. If you want to stay involved athletically, but not necessarily at the varsity level, there's 9 club sports and 16 intramural leagues as well to go along with our 2 fitness centers that are on campus. From an academic standpoint, we're on that smaller side, size of schools, but we offer a lot. We have arts and sciences, which is our largest school. Architecture and planning is one of 3 fully accredited architecture schools that are Catholic institutions in the country. Bush School of Business is our fastest growing school. And I can keep going down the list, but I only have 6 minutes. If you're interested in anything specifically, let me know. I'll put my email in the chat box and all of our information is online as well. So if you have anything specific, let me know and I can get you in contact with someone from one of our departments underneath one of these schools. The biggest thing that's changed since I graduated Catholic, coming up on 10 years almost, is the way that we do our advising. You have an academic and a career advisor. So it's going to be one person that works with you all along the way from the beginning of freshman year, even prior to freshman year. They're going to start reaching out to our incoming students here in the summer, and they're going to work with you to talk about what you need to do to succeed academically, but also from a career standpoint. About 80% of our students will do at least 1 internship. 60% will do 2 or more, and a quarter of our last graduating class did 3 or more internships during their time at Catholic here in DC. 90% of our students are employed. They are doing long-term service or they are continuing their education within 6 months of graduation. So again, one of the biggest differences that I think sets us apart is our model for career and academic advising and really being synergistic with it and making sure that there's a one-stop shop for all of our students. From a review standpoint, we will recalculate everyone's GPA down to an unweighted 4.0 scale. We will assess a strength of curriculum in addition to that. We are a test blind institution. We do not look at SAT or ACT scores whatsoever for any applicant. We will not look at it for the basis of admission or when we review for scholarship either. We will take into account activity, service, and leadership for each and every applicant. And everyone's automatically considered for our university honors program, in addition to our brand new Cornerstone Scholars Program. Also, there is no application fee. It is completely free to apply to Catholic U, so I encourage you to do so. Our scholarships range anywhere from $15,000 up to $32,000 this year. We do have a parish scholarship if you're a member of a Catholic parish. All you have to do is put that parish info in the Common App and you will automatically get $4,000 per year renewed each and every year. Same rules apply for the legacy grant. If you have a parent, grandparent, or sibling that attended Catholic U, all you have to do is put their info in the Common App. And then from a need-based standpoint, we have gone away from the CSS profile. We now only require the FAFSA for a full review for need-based scholarships. 95% of our students receive some sort of financial assistance or scholarship. And last year alone, we gave out $70 million in grants and scholarships to our applicant pool. So that is the conclusion of my presentation. I'll be happy to stick around and answer any questions if they are to come up.
Awesome, thank you. The next representative is from George Washington University.
Hi, everyone. Very excited to be here. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. So hi, everyone. I'm very excited to join you all tonight. My name is Danye. I am an admissions associate in the undergrad admissions office at the George Washington University. And I'm going to share a bit about our institution with you. So for starters, George Washington University is located in the Foggy Bottom neighborhood of DC, very close to a lot of really cool institutions, which I'll touch on in a moment. We were chartered by an act of Congress in 1821. Even though we're about 200 years old, we don't look a day over 29. But we're also one of only 5 universities in the entire country to be founded in such a way, which is very unique. So just to give you all an idea of what our student body looks like by the numbers, we have about 11,000 undergraduate students enrolled here. We are a medium-sized private university. Our students represent all 50 states and over 130 different countries. And we're also able to maintain an average class size of about 29, despite our pretty hefty size. So while I mentioned that our primary campus is in the Foggy Bottom neighborhood, we do have 2 campuses that our undergraduate students interact with on a day-to-day basis. So in Foggy Bottom, there are both residential and academic buildings that students will interact with on the day-to-day. We do require that students live on campus for their first 3 years. So there's a very good chance that you'll be living on Foggy Bottom for your first 3 years while you're at GW. That campus is just 4 blocks away from the White House, a 5-minute bike ride from the National Mall. Even though we are a very integrated urban campus, you'll see people on their way to work, tourists on their way to the monuments. You're also going to see a lot of students walking around, and you do still get that sense of community. We occupy about a 4x5 concentrated block within the city. So it's very clearly marked when you're on our campus. We have a lot of banners and flags. So you still do get that campus feel despite being so integrated into the city. So moving on to the Mount Vernon campus, that is an additional campus available for our undergraduate students. It's mostly for our first year students. It houses about 1/3 of the first year class. It's located in the Fox Hall neighborhood. So it's a bit more of a residential area of the city, though it is still located within DC. So that campus has, again, academic and residential buildings, so you can live and learn there as well. We also have a couple of special academic programs that we offer for students. And if anyone's interested in those, being part of those programs is participating in a living learning community. So you'd be required to live on the Mount Vernon campus for your first year. But it's an absolutely beautiful campus, much more of a traditional feel. That's something you might see in like a movie. It's very scenic, idyllic. It also has its own library. It has a cafe, a dining hall. It also holds all of our athletic facilities. So anyone interested in our Division I or club sports, a lot of those events will be happening on the Mount Vernon campus. There's also a black box theater and a rec center. There's dance studios. So a lot of our student organizations will host events over on that campus as well. There's a free shuttle service that goes between Foggy Bottom and Mount Vernon. It operates about every 15 minutes, and the vans are also equipped with Wi-Fi, a nice little perk, and those operate 24/7. So it's very easy to get back and forth between the two campuses, regardless of the time of day or the time of week. So looking at our breakdown for academics, we have 7 different schools and colleges. We have over 100 different majors broken up into these schools and colleges. Something really cool about our university is that because of our location within the city, as I mentioned, we have a lot of really cool institutions right near us. You know, we're right near the State Department. We're also next door to the Federal Reserve. So a lot of our students will get really fantastic experience out in the city, but we also attract a lot of really fantastic professors to our university. So not only do we have a wide array of tenure track professors who are doing research in their fields that undergrad students can get involved with, but we also have a lot of adjunct professors. And I really like highlighting this because it just shows how involved in the DC community our university is. So for example, you could be taking a class with an adjunct professor. It's an economics class, and they work full time at the Federal Reserve, but they're choosing to come to our university and share those experiences with students. So that's another really great way that our location kind of provides a really unique advantage to students who decide to come to GW. So if anyone has any questions, I just want to highlight some of the ways that you can get in contact with us. Of course, I'll put my email in the chat, but we also have a general admissions email, especially if you want to talk to any current students. This email is mostly run by our current students in our admissions office. They're very knowledgeable. So if anyone has any questions about any specific programs, you can give us a call, you can send us an email. I also recommend you check out our admissions website. This has a lot of information on the application process, and also a really thorough FAQ page. And also our social media is very active. So if you're looking to see sort of like Instagram takeovers and things like that on Twitter, our students are very active on there as well. So you get a lot of an inside look at what it's like to be a GW student. So that about wraps up my presentation, and I will pass it on to the next.
Very helpful information. Thank you. Just a friendly reminder, if anyone has any questions at all, to feel free to submit those questions using the Q&A button towards the bottom of your screen. Any questions at all, our representatives are here and available to assist. The next representative is from Towson University.
Nailed it. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Catherine. And she's right. If you all have questions, do feel free to let us know. All right, 6 minutes. Let's dive right in, everybody. I'm Dan Zawacki. I'm the Associate Director of Recruitment and Admission at Towson University. Beautiful, fabulous campus shot right here. We are located just north of Baltimore City, so not terribly far from our pals down in DC. Really, really excited you all are here with tonight. I'm learning about all these great schools in the DMV area. At Towson, we talk a lot about the momentum, the energy going on. You hear a lot of action verbs. We talk about pouncing and other tiger-related puns in our marketing, because we are the fastest growing institution here in the state of Maryland. Now, we've seen tremendous growth in the last 5-8 years or so, both in the number of students choosing TU, the quality of those students, the diversity of those students, where they're coming from, their backgrounds, what they care about, what they want to study. It's a really pretty exciting time to hop on board. We've been doing this for quite a while. We were founded in 1866 as a teaching college, as a place to get education degrees here in the state, but we've since grown to have so much more than just education, although we still produce more teachers than any other school here in Maryland, but 6 really distinct different colleges, lots of different majors and programs you can dive into, especially in business, anything in STEM, computer science right now. Our nursing program is fantastic, really across the board. I talked about this earlier, but our students come from all over, not only reflecting the diversity of the state of Maryland, but really the entire country. And we're really, really proud of how our student body reflects that. Again, in their backgrounds, their ethnicities, their religious affiliations, we really do have a terrific mix of students. And for this incoming class, the class of 2026 we just invited here, we will be a minority serving institution starting next year, as about 60% of our incoming class identifies as a student of color. So we couldn't be more excited about that for the future. We also really love where you will go to school, right? So where you go to college is so important. I think all the schools here tonight really take advantage of those locations. Just being just north of Baltimore, lots of great opportunities to get into the city. We have a shuttle system to get you there, only a couple miles away from downtown Baltimore. So we're talking internships, certainly concerts, big time arts, museums, culture, things like that. Obviously the sports, the Orioles, horrendous tickets, very cheap as a result. All sorts of fun things you can get into at TU. And we also really love where we are in Towson proper. That's really important to us. We are very much a college town, and that's been a big difference in the last 5-8 years or so. Tons of investment in the area, not only in the restaurants, the local businesses that are there, the apartments that our students live in, like the beautiful new apartments going up above the Whole Foods and right next to our accelerator startup space. There's really so much going on in Uptown Towson proper that again really does add to the college town feel that we have going around us here. And we are a place now where the vast majority of our students, they walk to class every single day, either living right on campus proper or really just nearby and really taking advantage of everything we have to offer in Towson proper. Let's talk about those academic experiences. We're a large public institution, right? Just over 20,000 undergraduates. So lots, again, that you can dive into when it comes to your academic choices, but we really do pride ourselves on that personal feel. And all the schools here tonight do a terrific job with this, keeping those class sizes small, making sure that you're really connecting with your faculty. For us at Towson, that comes from that background as a teaching college, right? Where education comes first, where your professors very much are there to teach and connect with you, figure out what it is you like to do, what you want to accomplish, how Towson can get you there, and oftentimes kind of pull you aside and be the folks who connect you to those internships, to the research on or off campus, pull you aside and say, hey, you're doing terrific in my class. Maybe not so much on the last quiz, we'll talk about that quiz, but you're great in my class, and I've got a colleague at Legg Mason, or I've got a colleague at Hopkins Hospital. They're looking for an intern this summer. They're looking for someone to help out in the lab, or I'm doing a study, on child psychology here this summer. I want you to join me on that. You're, again, great in my class. I'd be happy to recommend you for it. That type of networking, really commonplace for our students, and it becomes out of these small personal class experiences that you have, even from the jump, even from day one, you'll find those connections. Towson is very much an exciting kind of rah-rah school. We like to get loud and roar, as we like to say. Again, more Tiger puns. This is a very busy place. Lots of student clubs and organizations you can get involved with. Really whatever it is you already like to do. And you'll hear this a lot as you're building out your college lists. Whatever part of yourself, your identity, your hobby, your interest, your professional passion, your academic interests, whatever that is, you're going to find your people at TU who share that piece of themselves and also want to celebrate and share that out. And that's very, very true in our student organizations across the board, whether they are identity-based or whether they are more hobby interest-based, again, career-focused, academic, you name it, it's going on here. We're a Division I institution. So 19 Division I schools, excellent season in men and women's basketball this year. Both teams reaching the NCAA tournament, or rather the NIT tournament. Oof, don't want to get that wrong, but did have over 20 wins for the both times. For both men and women's had that going on in the same season. Also excellent lacrosse as always. All sorts of other sports as well. And going to the sports games, going to the homecoming football games, definitely a part of the culture that we've got going on here at TU. So definitely something that students like to get involved with, whether they're athletes or not. And we also have great competitive club sports, intramural sports, great study abroad programs, really all over the place, being part of the university system of Maryland, right? So sharing the university system with some other schools here. We share programs like study abroad. We share resources like that to get you opportunities all over the globe. I said this before, Towson very much a residential campus. Students walk to class every day. They're either here. Vast majority of our freshmen live on campus. About half our sophomores stay on campus as well. If you'd like to live on campus all 4 years, you very much can. We have some seniors who stick around all 4 years, but we also have students who, again, move into those nearby off-campus apartments. Most of them Towson owned and operated, ready to go. Lots of places to eat, have a good time with that. Like all the schools here, we do a terrific job preparing you for those next steps. Great outcomes, about 9 out of 10 of our students employed, doing those experiential learning, having those first career placements and all the above. Not going to get into the application process with y'all. Y'all can learn about that over the summer and you can come and visit and everything else. But like everyone else, reach out, contact us. I'll drop my information in the chat, but really excited that y'all came out to hear from us this evening. Thanks so much.
We appreciate it. The next representative is from the University of Maryland, Baltimore County.
All right, Catherine, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Ronita Walker, and I am the Assistant Director of Student Recruitment at UMBC, and we only have 6 minutes, so I'm just going to jump right in. So first, I just wanted to discuss why UMBC. So I just wanted to touch on some of our quick rankings. So we at UMBC, we are committed to the undergraduate learning experience. So we are number 6 in undergraduate teaching in the country with our 17-to-1 ratio. So if you are admitted to UMBC, you can expect to have a great personal relationship with your faculty and other students on campus. We're also number 15 in the nation for receiving NASA funding. So going back to those opportunities, if you do become a student at our university, we have great partnerships with employers in the area. And lastly, several of our professors are Fulbright scholars. So again, if you're a student looking for holistic learning, professors who have taught in other countries, who speak several languages, this is the campus for you. Next, just wanted to provide you with a short, just bird's eye view of our campus. We have state-of-the-art resources in all of our facilities. We have over 200 clubs and organizations on campus. So whatever you're interested in, if it's something that, you might not be as interested in it to minor in it, but it's a hobby or something you want to get involved in, we have the club for you. And about two-thirds of our students actually live on campus. And all of our facilities are equipped with Wi-Fi. So again, with 2/3 of our students living on campus, we have living communities. So you can become connected with students who share some of the same interests as you, the same major as you. You can get involved in different study groups, all while living on campus. So next, I'm quickly just going to touch on our majors and programs. So at UMBC, we offer over 100 academic programs between our majors, minors, and different certificate programs, expanding everywhere from the arts to engineering to some of our pre-professional study programs, such as pre-professional nursing, pre-med, pre-law, anything that you can think of. And I also want to add that we are a member of the Baltimore Exchange Program. So any other university in Baltimore that's a part of this organization, if you would like to go to one of their campuses and take a course that we're not offering at UMBC, as a student, you can feel free to do that with the same cost of your attendance at UMBC. So that's a great opportunity for a student who's interested in researching at Towson or at Loyola or at Johns Hopkins University. So that's another, just added benefit to being a UMBC student. Next, I'm just going to quickly discuss some of our applied learning opportunities there. So we are an honors university, but we also have honors college scholars. So students, just based off merit, you can receive a full scholarship. We also have different studying opportunities, study abroad opportunities for our honors college students. They also have, this is just a great tidbit, their own level on our library, their own floors, so they can have just different study opportunities and different events hosted. We are great for undergraduate research. We have an undergraduate research symposium every year. So our students have the opportunity to participate in research opportunities with their faculty members and on their own. And they have an opportunity every year to present those findings and use that as a networking opportunity. And we also engage in internship and job fairs at the university as well. So next, I'm just going to quickly discuss how our students are excelling once they leave the university. So 90% of our students report being employed or pursuing graduate school once they leave UMBC. So again, as you begin to think about not only your process as an incoming student, but what you want to do and where you want to go once you leave the campus. So again, going back to having that holistic learning approach and having several internship opportunities and several partnerships with many of the organizations in Baltimore. We have partnerships with Northrop Grumman, with the NSA. So our students really have an opportunity to learn on campus and apply it in the field. Next, just quickly covering some of our scholars programs. So if you're a student interested in some of our specialized areas of study, you can also receive up anywhere from $1,000 up to a full ride. If you're interested in we have our cyber scholars, we have our women in technology scholars, we have our humanities scholars. So again, if you are interested in UMBC outside of merit-based scholarships, we also have major-based scholarships as well. So there's a lot of opportunity for funding and, just being able to have the funds to pursue your academic career the way that you're interested in. Again, if you're interested in studying abroad, if you're interested in internship opportunities, then we have the funding available for you. Lastly, just wanted to touch on some of our application deadlines. So if you are an incoming freshman student, our early action deadline is going to be November the 1st. And if you are a transfer student, our priority deadline is going to be October the 15th. So those are the dates that you want to go ahead and book in your calendar to be able to be an early action apply student, to take advantage of some of our merit scholarships and also some of our grant opportunities. And again, this was just a general overview, but if you would like to discuss anything further with me, here's my contact information, ronitawa@umbc.edu. And I look forward to hearing from some of you guys and answering any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Very helpful. Before we hear from our next two representatives, just another friendly reminder that if you have any questions at all, to feel free to use the Q&A button towards the bottom of your screen. If you have any questions specific to any of our representatives or institutions represented here, we encourage you to include the school name. The next representative is from Bowie State University.
Hello and good afternoon, everybody. I'm just going to start off with a quick video. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to get right into it.
Well, I always start with the students.
Can't see your screen. Or we can see your screen, but it's not the video.
I have amazing students. They're bright, they're talented.
I'm sorry about that. So you say you can't see the screen?
We can see your shared screen. We just aren't able to see the video. We just see a Zoom login, like your desktop.
Okay, well, I'm not going to hold us up any further. I just wanted to give us a brief video just to kind of show what's going on campus. So first, let me start by saying Bowie State is one of 4 HBCUs in the state of Maryland: Coppin State University, the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, and then you have Morgan State. But do not let any of those schools fool you, okay? Bowie State was the first established HBCU in the state of Maryland and one of the oldest HBCUs in the country. So when you're looking at prestige and history, you get the best of both worlds at Bowie State University, okay? And Bowie State was established in 1865, again, making it one of the oldest HBCUs in the country, okay? Bowie State has an 80% acceptance rate. So what that means is that most of the students that are applying to Bowie State are getting into Bowie State, okay? 2.3 or higher on your GPA to be accepted, 850 or higher on your SATs, and a 16 or higher on your ACTs. Now, we are also test optional as well. So if you have a 3.0 or higher, you will be automatically accepted into Bowie State with no placement tests in math and English. If you have a 2.5 to a 2.9, you still will be automatically accepted. You would just have to take your placement test in math and English. And if you fall in between a 2.3 and a 2.49, that's where you will go through our undergraduate decision appeal, and that's where your 2 letters of recommendation are going to come into play, okay? Now, when you get to the programs of Bowie State University, we have over 23 different undergraduate programs, 20 masters, and 16 specialty certificates in a high variety and a high demand fields. Those top 5 programs being nursing, psychology, criminal justice, business administrations, and communications, okay? Now, when you get to the tuition costs, for in-state, it's about roughly $8,500. For out of state, it's about roughly $19,000, okay? If you want to stay on campus, you typically pair that with your meal plan as well, which you can budget another $9,000 to $11,000, which will bring that out of state total to roughly $28,000 to $30,000. If you take that number and compare it to a lot of the schools in the area, you'll see that that number is much lower, as we were ranked the number 3 best value HBCU school. Now, when you hear words like affordable and valuable, it's easy to think that you'll get a drop off in your experience and your resources on campus. Rest assured that Bowie State is a top 25 HBCU program, and with our football and athletics, we've just crept into the top 10 D2 polls, coming in at number 6. Now, believe me, it's about 162 schools in the area. So you can see how well we stand off in those numbers. Okay. Now, when you get to the atmosphere of Bowie State, the population of Bowie State is roughly 6,200 students, which half of those students being commuter students. Now, Bowie State is accessible via the MARC train, which is in the middle of Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. So you'll get the best of both worlds in that aspect. I myself was a commuter, so I utilized the MARC train from Baltimore, but then I opted to stay on campus for my last 2 years so I could really take in the experience and really get that college lifestyle. Okay. Now, the classroom size, it's about 17-to-1 ratio. So that means if you need to get to your professor, if you need to get to her office hours, she's probably in the same building where you just had class. Okay. We also have resources on campus such as free math tutoring, free writing labs, and all of those are run by the students on campus, which fits our business initiative for my students. And I'll touch on a little bit of that later. Okay. And we have over 50 different clubs and organizations. We are military friendly as well. We have 2 student governing bodies, and we have all Divine 9 sororities and fraternities. So there's a bunch to do on campus outside of your class time to stay active. Okay. We are a Division II schools. We have 5 men's sports: football, basketball, indoor track, outdoor track, cross country. And for the women, we have 8: basketball, indoor track, outdoor track, cross country, tennis, volleyball, softball, and bowling. And please don't let that last one fool you. Our bowling team are like the Lakers. They went back to back to back to back. Okay. Now, I do want to touch on the business initiative that we have here on campus. One of our newest buildings that was built on campus is the ELLC, the Entrepreneurial Living and Learning Center. Now, this building is not just for the business majors on campus, but for all those business savvy. You can take advantage of our student business center, where you can learn all the fundamentals to create and start your own LLC. You can take advantage of the entrepreneurial living, the Entrepreneur Center, where you can learn all the fundamentals and basics of entrepreneurship. But the best part about this building to me is that you can rent out the Makerspace that's at the bottom. So let's just say I'm a student and I have my own business and I sell t-shirts. I can now rent out this space and I can sell my products and run my business on campus. Okay. Now, again, this is not just for the business majors, but all of the students on campus. You can also take advantage of different job opportunities in our student-run cafe in Saxby's, not Zaxby's. But each year we select a new CEO and a new CFO, again, to give students who aspire to run their own business one day that experience while they're on campus as well. Okay, now any and all specific admissions questions, I will be here for you to answer those questions. I also work in the football department as well. So any of those sports related and admissions process, I'll stick around and answer a lot of those questions for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last representative, but certainly not least, is from the University of Maryland, College Park.
Hi, everyone. As I'm starting to share my screen, I will have to apologize for how my voice sounds tonight. I shared with my co-panelists this evening that I officiated my first ever wedding this weekend. Unfortunately, I left my voice in Ashburn, Virginia. So if you will bear with me sounding a little unpleasant this evening, I would love to share some information about the University of Maryland College Park with you all. Quick intro, and then I'll jump right in because I only have about 6 minutes. My name is Maggie Duran. I currently serve as the Senior Coordinator of Admissions at the University of Maryland. I also went to the University of Maryland, so I am coming to you tonight from the perspective of a college admissions officer. I also had that perspective of being a student at Maryland, albeit it was a few years ago at this point. Now, jumping in and talking about Maryland a little bit by the numbers, first and foremost, let's talk a little about our students and our size. We are pretty large. We're about 30,000 undergraduate students, but with that size comes a lot of diversity and a lot of great and passionate students. Speaking to that a little bit further, I really mean diversity in every sense that you could ever use the word. As you'll see some of the numbers shared in front of you here, a little under 44% of our students self-identify as a student of color. We have all different religions represented on our campus, students from different socioeconomic backgrounds. For those of you who are tuning in from Maryland tonight, we have every county in Maryland represented, as well as all 50 states and 123 different countries on our campus. With that diversity, again, comes a lot of unique perspectives, and I really feel that the university is stronger for it, and really it gives our students the best experience in the classrooms and outside of the classrooms as well. Another few other numbers I'd like to share with you is that we are the 10th best public college according to Kiplinger's Finance, for best value in public colleges. So just like some of my other colleagues have shared tonight, when you come to the University of Maryland, you're getting a great education, but you're also getting the best bang for your buck. And that is for both in and out of state students. We're in the top 10 according to Kiplinger's Personal Finance. Now, as I mentioned, we are a pretty large school, about 30,000 undergraduate students, but with our size, you are also going to find so many different ways to make different communities across campus and different homes across campus for yourself. Whether that's in our clubs and organizations, we have a little over 800 for you to jump in and get involved in, whether it's getting to know friends and folks on your resident hall floor or in your classes. Though we are big, really you're going to find your circles in several different places across our campus. One of the first ways you will find your circle or your different communities on campus is going to be in your school and college. Now, though we are all University of Maryland students and staff, you may also be a student in the Robert A. Smith School of Business or the Philip Merrill College of Journalism. Within your school and college, you will have that smaller school feeling, getting to know your advisor who's specific to your subject area, getting to know students in your classes, your professors. You get that smaller school feeling with all the resources, opportunity, and diversity that a large institution can offer you. Within these 12 different schools and colleges, we offer a little over 90 majors and a little over 100 minors. One thing I should mention is if you are undecided or deciding between a bunch of options, that's okay. The very last program I have listed here is what we call Letters and Sciences. You can't graduate in Letters and Sciences. Instead, it's our undeclared, undecided advising track that students can stay into up until the 2 years or 60 credits. Now, it's the president's promise at the University of Maryland that every student will have an outside of the traditional classroom-based learning experience, and this happens in a couple of different ways, one of which being research. Now, I know often our liberal arts majors will tune out when they hear research, but this absolutely applies to you as well. Whether you are in a social science, a liberal arts program, a traditional STEM program, you are going to have the opportunity to engage in research at the University of Maryland. We are a public research institution, so it's happening across all disciplines. Internships wise, like most of my colleagues here, we are just a few miles outside Washington, D.C., and not terribly far from Baltimore or Annapolis as well. So plenty of our opportunities for our students, both on and around campus. Education abroad wise, about 65% of our students will study abroad at some point, and it is open to all majors. Service learning wise, we have a huge Office of Community Service Engagement that organizes tons of opportunities for our students to get back, not just on our campus, but certainly in the communities around us as well. Last but not least, we have something called Living and Learning Programs. Title gets straight to the point. Everyone who is in the same program will live in the same residence hall or section of a residence hall, and you guessed it, learn together by taking a few classes as a cohort or group for your first year or years, depending on the program at Maryland. Good news for our rising seniors for next year, nothing extra you have to do to be reviewed for our living and learning programs. You simply need to apply to our early action deadline, which I'll talk about in just a few slides. In terms of application itself, I'll be short and sweet here. We are on both the Common Application and the Coalition Application platform. No preference, whatever works best for you, works best for us. I will not read through all of these tonight, but you can certainly find them on our website as well. We employ what we call a holistic admission approach to our review process. That means that while a third of these are academic in nature, we are looking, outside of the classroom with your letters of recommendation or your involvement to really do our best to get to know who you are as a person and as a student. And again, these are on our website as well. How on earth do we figure out how those 26 factors fit your story? We use a couple of different application components. The application itself, letters of recommendation, transcripts. We are test optional for rising juniors, still making some determinations for further years, and your resume as well. We have an early action deadline of November 1st, and as long as you apply early action, you'll be reviewed for our special programs, merit scholarships, and be given best consideration for admission. Last thing to touch on here, as long as, again, you apply early action, you'll be reviewed for all of our merit-based scholarships. And then in terms of need-based financial aid, you need to fill out the free application for federal student aid by January 1st, and you'll be reviewed for that as well. And I think that's exactly 6 minutes, so I will stop sharing my screen. Or maybe I won't.
All great information. Thank you so much. And thank you to all our representatives. We do have some time left. And so at this point, we're going to pivot into our Q&A portion of the session. I invite all our representatives at this time to go ahead and turn on their cameras to get ready to unmute themselves for our first question here, which is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? What advice would you give someone going through the college search process? We'll go ahead and get started in the same order in which you all presented in.
All right, I'll lead it off again. It's like the top of the second inning now. I'll go ahead and say that the biggest thing is start early, cast a wide net, but then as you start to go through junior and senior year, you're going to start to whittle down. You're going to start finding, well, my interests are particularly tailored to this school, but not so much this other school. And you'll be fine. Reach out to the admission counselors. We're all here. We're going to be here through the summer. We'll take some vacation, but we're here to answer your questions. So if there's anything pertaining to student life or a particular academic interest that you have, reach out to us. We'll get you in contact with faculty members here at our institutions. And I think you'll find that you'll be able to whittle that list down with more information that's specific to what you're interested in.
I would wholeheartedly agree. Definitely ask us questions. We're here as a resource for you and to make this process easier. I think advice I would give, much like we're looking at your applications holistically, you should be looking at our universities holistically as well. It's not just about academic programs and things like prestige and whatnot, but really try to figure out if that's a good fit for you. Try to talk with current students in various programs, figure out if what you're interested in, if they have student organizations or club sports, if they're in a city or in a rural area that you want to be in. I'd really say consider all aspects of the school, even down to the food. You're going to be living there for a couple years, so you want to make sure that you enjoy as much of it as possible.
Amen to the food. Sorry, as soon as I went to hit mute, I opened up the Q&A. Echo everyone, everything our colleagues have already said. God, I hate this advice because I never would have followed it as a high school student, but write it all down, make yourself an actual list. We talk a lot about building your college list, casting that wide net, starting to look at different schools that interest you, but legitimately do write it down. Make yourself a Google Doc, make yourself a spreadsheet, something real quick and easy that you can pull up on your phone, that you can pull up on your laptop, wherever, and put down all these different aspects of the schools, right? Where they're located, the size, whether or not the food is any good, what kind of special scholarships they might have that apply to you that this school offers but this one doesn't offer. Definitely write down the names and email addresses of each school's admissions rep so that you have us all in one place. You don't have to keep diving back to our websites over and over again to figure out who your rep is when you need them. Doing all that as you're building the list, as you're looking at the websites to see if you want to sign up for a tour, all the above, it's going to save you so much time and grief later on when you're stressed. So yeah, don't do what I would not have done, because I refuse to do anything organized, and I still begrudgingly make sheets, but write it all down. Do yourself a big favor.
Good afternoon again. My advice would be to visit the college campus. Just make sure that you're visiting the schools that you're interested in. Yes, academics take priority, and that is very important, but you also want to make sure you get a feel for the campus community, for the campus vibe. Make sure that you feel at home, because that's what's going to retain you to come back to school every semester and every year. You have to love the environment that you're going to be in, because you're going to be there for a 24-hour period. So you want to make sure you feel included. You want to make sure you feel appreciated. You want to make sure you feel valued in the place that you're going to be working in. And secondly, to be very intentional about your letters of recommendation. Thank you.
Yeah, so I was just going to piggyback off of Ronita, and say, yes, you want to try to get to as many campuses that you can, because there are certain questions that you can't answer from an application, like how far is the dorm from the cafeteria? How far is the cafeteria from the class? Is this campus closed, or is it more so very open and there's a lot of things going on? So those are going to be some good answers that you can answer yourself being in there, walking around. And I would say too, try to put those schools that meet your programs and areas of study in those top choices and candidates. That way, when you're on those campuses, you know that they'll have those programs that you love to study, which will make your time there worthwhile. You don't want to be at a college or university that doesn't really have a lot of things that you can focus in on. Now you're spending all your time getting involved into those extra curricular activities. And we know how many of those there are on campus, but you always want to make sure you stay intentional and stay within your purpose of what you're studying.
All right, well, I agree with everything that my colleagues have said. I think my big advice, if I take it back 11 years, the year is 2011, I'm applying to colleges. All I could think about my senior year is that the only thing adults cared to talk to me about was applying to college. And it was driving me crazy. I was so stressed out. I was crying at the dinner table all the time. So this is advice I learned from a colleague a few years ago. Set up time as you're going through this process with your person, a parent, guardian, aunt, counselor, whoever it is, sibling, once a week. Sundays, Mondays, make it fun. Maybe you go to Starbucks, maybe you go to get ice cream, and that's your meeting. That's when you talk about, okay, this week I'm going to finish my essay for University of Maryland, Baltimore County. And next week I'm going to request a scholarship letter recommendation from this mentor I had in this club. When you really centralize those conversations, it means this isn't the only thing you were talking about with your family, because it's a lot. It's overwhelming. It doesn't have to be if you start early and you stay organized like Dan shared, but when you can centralize those conversations, treat them like a business meeting, it means that, you know, when you're just driving the car or sitting down to make dinner, it's not the only thing you're talking about. So save yourself a little bit of stress, have those meetings, figure out what's actionable for the week, and then come back and regroup the following.
Awesome. All really great advice. It's a process. And so as everyone shared, just take the time that you need and feel free to reach out if you need to. So again, thank you so much to our representatives for sharing, for being open. We really appreciate it. And thank you to each of you for joining us. We have now reached the conclusion of this session. As we close, there'll be a very quick 5-question survey that will appear on your browser. If you don't mind taking a moment to fill that out for us, we would greatly appreciate it. This is one of many college presentations being offered tonight, so feel free to check the schedule on the website for more. And lastly, this session is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/PCACAC. Again, thank you all and have a great evening.
Bye, everyone.